SEC baseball is back, and we've got a top 20 matchup to start off conference play in Nashville. The second-ranked Vanderbilt Commodores host the 16th-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. Wes Clark, the national home run leader, against Kamar Rocker, the potential #1 pick in the MLB draft. The Vandy boys start SEC play at home for the first time since 2016, and we've got a great matchup coming your way tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday between the Vanderbilt Commodores and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Chilly, windy, but clear night here in the Music City as Vanderbilt plays Game 2 of a 5-game homestand, and we look forward to seeing Kamar Rocker pitch this evening. Great to see you guys. Max Hers along with former Vandy infielder Andrew Harris. Getting ready for the first of 3, Andrew. Just glad SEC baseball is finally back.
Yeah, Max, I don't think we ever thought we were ever going to get back here, but we're here. And the interesting thing is Vandy only has 5 players who have ever played in the SEC game, so big challenge for them. South Carolina kind of trying to stop a 4-game losing streak, so good matchup tonight between these two.
Vanderbilt, the defending SEC regular season and tournament champions, and we've got an amazing pitching matchup coming your way tonight. 2 aces coming off of great starts against Big 12 teams.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable matchup tonight. Very kind of quintessential of an SEC Friday night. Rocker, fantastic job last week against Oklahoma State. 8 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts. Just some big-time stuff. Continues to extend himself in the pitch count and really see if he can go 8 or 9 tonight. Thomas Farr got the no decision last weekend against Texas, but the fastball up in like 93, 96. And a good sharp breaking ball as well. So really good matchup tonight. Exciting to see.
The man with baseball eyes all across the world, watching him every time he toes the rubber. Does so for the 5th time this year, Kamar Rocker. And he finally pitches on a Friday. He went Monday, Sunday, Saturday because of weather changes. But here he is finally pitching on a Friday night. And ever since the end of his freshman regular season 2 years ago, he has been red hot. Not so hot as the South Carolina batting order. They've lost 4 in a row and a couple of changes in the order for Mark Kingston. Wes Clark, the national home run leader, moves from 3rd to 4th. And for the first time this season, Brady Allen is not leading off. He hits 2nd with sophomore second baseman Braylon Wimmer at the top of the Gamecock order. Temperature right around 50 degrees as we start at 6:30 local time. Kamar Rocker and Braylon Wimmer. First pitch swinging right to Jason Gonzalez, Vanderbilt's 3rd baseman, and Rocker's got a quick first out. Vanderbilt lineup the same as Tuesday. Dominic Keegan is on the active roster after clearing COVID protocol, but he is not in the starting lineup. Parker Noland at first base in his place for the 6th consecutive game. Brings up Brady Allen. He led off South Carolina's first 15 games. Tonight, the junior outfielder hits 2nd.
South Carolina, they can swing the bat, and I think they're going to be aggressive early in the count. They know that Rocker likes to get ahead with the fastball, so we saw an early swing there from Wimmer, and down 0-2 here with Rocker.
First breaking ball, slider right there.
Yeah, Rocker does not waste any time. Really attacks you. He doesn't try and nibble on the corner. He's just saying, hey, I'm going to throw it right in that strike zone, try and hit it.
Rocker last week against Oklahoma State went 8 scoreless innings, by far his longest outing of the season. His first 3 had been 4, 5, and 6 frames.
A good look at the slider there. Just down in the zone. Good job by Allen laying off. Yeah, Max, you mentioned Rocker's just continued to extend himself over the past few weeks, and I think that was more so coach-driven than Rocker-driven, but kind of up there getting ready for SEC play. You see a fastball up in the zone to finish him off.
97 miles an hour for Kamar Rocker's first strikeout.
Yeah, the juices are definitely flowing. It's a little chilly, but Rocker up in the zone, 97. He does such a good job of changing the eye angle of those batters. He will set up that high fastball with the slider before it in the dirt. And the slider is just so tough to pick up.
Junior left fielder Josiah Seitler hits third for the Cox, and that's the first changeup we've seen from Kamar Rocker. Wes Clark is hitting fourth tonight. He had hit third in every game coming in. So Seitler moves up into that 3-hole on a 7-game hitting streak. Strike on the inside corner.
That was a good look at the fastball. Had some good run on it as well. Rocker is such a big guy, good extension. I mean, by the time the ball's out of his hand, I mean, it's almost like he's all the way half to the plate, so ball gets up on you quick.
Ahead 1-2. Seitler hitting .375 to start the season. 6th start in left field, 6 is the DH. He pitches as well. Two and two.
Yeah, this would be a great test for Rocker with a number of bats in this lineup. And one of the more seasoned guys he's facing this so far this year. Seitler, one of the better hitters in the SEC. You mentioned Max, two-way player.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 with the slider. A 1-2-3 top of the first for Kamar Rocker. Ends with back-to-back strikeouts. Thomas Farr against the Vanderbilt lineup next.
Day.
Bottom of the first inning on SEC opening night in Nashville. Max Hers and Andrew Harris. Vanderbilt and South Carolina in a top 20 matchup. Vanderbilt's ace Kamar Rocker, a 1-2-3 first. The Gamecock ace, undisputedly after his performance last week against Texas, is Thomas Farr.
Yeah, and Farr, big-time fastball, 93, runs it up there about 96 as well. Good sharp breaking ball, good changeup. Uses all three of those very, very well. Max, you mentioned, got the no decision against Texas last weekend, but you know, had 10 strikeouts and got some really good stuff. So going to try and keep the ball down and keep these Vandy hitters at bay.
He'll face this batting order for Vanderbilt. Second straight game they've used this same lineup. Jack Bolger in the DH spot hitting third with Dominic Keegan not playing. Again, Keegan is available and on Vanderbilt's active roster this weekend after coming back from a positive COVID test. Parker Noland in the cleanup hole. CJ Rodriguez catching. Other than that, there have not been many changes for Vanderbilt this season. Here's South Carolina's defense. Brady Allen is the center fielder. Eister and Seitler surround him. Braylon Wimmer is probably their best defender at 4 or 5 positions. He plays second base tonight. George Khalil, the steady senior shortstop. Mendham and Heinrich on the corners. And Colin Burgess, a defensive anchor, catches Farr. Cooper Davis in his 9th game back from a broken nose. Gonna have that softball cage for another 2 or 3 weeks, he thinks. And he's been at the top of the Vanderbilt lineup in all 10 games he's started. See if this stays fair on the left side of the infield and foul.
Hey Max, we were wondering when that cage would come off. You said it's 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, that's good to see. That was some gnarly stuff we saw. First AB. A tough kid, hockey guy. I think right after it happened, he told Tim Corbin, I'm ready to go right back out there. And Tim Corbin said, oh, let's shut it down for a little bit. But he was back in that lineup pretty quickly. And they need him right up there. I mean, with the bunt skills that he has and the ability to get on base and cause havoc.
Davis only missed 6 games over an 11-day span because of the injury. An injury that he said he was very fortunate it was not worse.
Yeah, we were worried it got right in his eye when it happened. I mean, it hit him right off the bat and hit his face, and he went straight down. But lucky to know it's just his nose.
This one's fair and shallow left, for now at least. And Seitler makes the catch. That's the type of contact you expect off of Thomas Farr's high fastball.
Yeah, we saw 96. I mean, far, he doesn't look like he's throwing that fast, but ball just explodes out of his hand and really gets a lot of missed barrels because the ball's moving so much. So you're right, Max, definitely going to get a lot of those, ground balls or easy pop flies.
Carter Young has hit second and played shortstop in all 16 games for Vanderbilt. Andrew, you and I named our honorary most valuable players of the non-conference season on Tuesday, and we both said Carter Young.
We did. No trophies, but yeah,
they're coming.
Yeah, just a kid who does so many different things. I mean, he's just a lockdown at shortstop and really carries that team offensively. He's been stayed right at that second spot for so long, and Tim Corbin loves having him up there just because of the consistency. And the power has really, really come this year. I mean, he's always been a good contact hitter, but he's definitely gotten stronger, and with the strength and the quickness in the hands, some of those balls that might hit the gap start to ride out of here. It really, really developed into a dynamic hitter.
Called strike 3. Farr drops the breaking ball at the letters.
Yeah, nice backdoor breaking ball in the outside corner. You kind of saw Young freeze up thinking that was going to be a ball, but at the last minute dropped right there in the strike zone. A nice executed pitch there by Farr.
Jack Bolger, freshman DH for Vandy, hitting in the 3-hole. First pitch swinging. See if this stays in for David Mendham. Not very much foul ground at Hawkins Field, and not very much ground period as it bounces onto Jess Neely Drive.
We see Bolger back in that 3 spot, back from where he was back on Tuesday. But Bolger was the guy who came in and hit for Cooper Davis at the beginning of the year when Davis was injured. So definitely no stranger to that lineup. Definitely a guy that they insert every once in a while.
12th start of the season, 7 as the left fielder, and now his 5th straight as the DH. Bolger's from Bowie, Maryland. Went to DeMatha Catholic in the DC metro area.
And we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, only 5 guys in this entire lineup have ever played SEC games, and only 5 guys have ever faced, or actually only 3 guys have only ever faced SEC pitching.
Bolger grounds this one into the 6-hole. Nice play by George Khalil. Thomas Farr deals a 1-2-3 inning of his own, and Kamar Rocker is quickly back to the hill in a scoreless game. First inning of SEC play in the books. 6 up, 6 down. Welcome back to SEC baseball. Pitching rules, and the fun part of these ball games is when those Friday night studs on teams like Vanderbilt and South Carolina go up against the big bat on the other side, and that's how we'll start this top of the second inning with the NCAA D1 leader in homers, Wes Clark. First man to 10 in all of D1 baseball, goes against Kamar Rocker.
Yeah, Max, you're right. This is really what you look for in these SEC matchups, and Clark just absolutely mashing. I mean, 10 home runs already. South Carolina has 23 home runs. I mean, he's almost got half of them. That's why he's in the middle of that order. Hi-oh.
Rocker going up and in to start the at-bat as he loses that fastball.
I don't think that was necessarily sending a message. We actually saw Rocker lose a couple of those in the warm-ups. But regardless, it does brush Clark off the plate a little bit if he's trying to dig in.
Comes right back with the low heater. Does not get a strike call from home plate umpire Morris Hodges. Clark is 6'2" tall, 236 pounds, from Forest, Virginia, in the Lynchburg area. Swing and a miss. Got him with the off speed.
Yeah, nice slider on the outside corner. If you look at the defense, a lot of space. I mean, both shortstop and second baseman are pretty deep Outfield's deep as well. Everybody just trying to get as much space as possible because they know that thing coming off the bat's got some velocity.
Gets another swing and miss on another change of pace.
You saw Clark kind of shaking his head as we see the space and the amount of depth, a little bit to the pull side, but
full count. Kumar Rocker, 2 strikeouts in an 11-pitch first inning. Going against Wes Clark, who hits a homer every 7.2 plate appearances so far this year. Walked him. Tried to get a 3-2 chase, and it didn't work.
And that's what happens here in the SEC, and also what happens when you're facing really good hitters. You got to make those repeated pitches. And sometimes you try and squeeze those in there a little bit too much, and good hitters aren't going to chase those. So South Carolina got their first runner.
Clark has walked 18 times this season. He's only struck out 16 times. That's been a big improvement from last year. Andrew Eister follows him. Rocker starts him off with a fastball. Eister, a senior right fielder, the only Carolina hitter to reach base in every game this season. Got a hit in 11 of those 15. Seen a couple cutters from Rocker
yeah, I was
so
say,
far?
Anytime we've seen that 88 miles an hour on the outside corner to those right-handers, that is that cutter, just a little bit of a more velocity and a little bit sharper of a break than the slider.
There's the slider down low. Good block by Rodriguez, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, with Rocker, I mean, his fastball it is explosive, and it does have some good run, but if you can switch that up with the slider and then a pitch that's a little bit quicker than the slider, just mixing up all those, and we have seen him good develop that good changeup. He used more to the left-handers, but those pitches are just so hard to pick up.
Chop foul. Tim Corbin said after Rocker went 8 scoreless in a 5-0 win against Oklahoma State last Saturday, the reason he was able to go so deep in that game was that he was using all his pitches.
Yep.
He was letting the ball get put in play, too.
Yeah, Rocker is not one guy to waste pitches. He just kind of comes right at you. And with the competition that Vandy has seen so far, he's been getting a lot of swing and miss, but as you see some better hitters probably get a lot of those balls just put in play.
There's a swing and a miss on a cutter in the zone.
This is a good look out of here on the outside corner. Not too much drop, not as much as the slider, but very well executed pitch.
We're 5 batters in, and this may already be the most cutters we've seen in a game from Rocker.
Yeah, we've seen him rely heavily on the slider. When I talked to pitching coach Scott Brown, that he did say that he had developed that cutter over the kind of the COVID period. We have not seen him release it as much as we've seen him tonight.
Leads with the fastball against David Mendham. One of 2 left-handed hitters in the Carolina lineup. The other one is Josiah Seitler, hitting third. Mendham, a junior from Canada, Dorchester, Ontario. Started 15 of the 16 games this season at first base after coming over from Connors State Community College in Warner, Oklahoma.
Yeah, Mendham, like a number of the guys on the South Carolina lineup, a lot of junior college transfers. A lot of guys that go in, develop their skills, and then transfer into South Carolina. It's kind of what South Carolina has done over the course that I've kind of been following them. A good way to insert a lot of good experienced talent into your lineup is just get some of those JUCO guys.
Is that a changeup on the outside corner?
We'll take a look. I think it was. I mentioned he used that changeup to more to the left-handers, kind of fades off the end of the bat, off the end of the plate.
This one's ripped to right. Thomas makes the catch for the second out. First contact the outfield against Rocker as Mendham gave it a little ride.
Yeah, put a good charge into it, but Thomas easy there to make the K.
Back-to-back outs after the leadoff walk to Clark. Jeff Heinrich is the 7th place hitting third baseman. Second straight start at third base after starting 6 games at second prior to that. Rocker starts him with the slider. No swing, says Daniel Cricks. Heinrich from the Chicagoland area. Transferred in from McHenry County College in Illinois. His second season with the Gamecocks.
Looked like Heinrich was pretty on time with that fastball in 96. I think that's why we've been seeing Rocker switch it up a little bit. Not let these guys time up that fastball because they know it. He does like to throw it. See Rocker at 29 pitches here in the second inning. South Carolina goal just to try and wear Rocker down, get guys on base, and get deep in that pin, get him off the mound any way they can.
Mark Kingston said heading into this series, we have 2 possible approaches we could use against Rocker and Leiter. If he's in the zone early in counts, we have to be aggressive. But if he's not in the zone early or throwing sliders to lead off counts, we need to be more patient. Build up that pitch count. Slider popped up. Out of play.
Yeah, and for Rocker, what we've seen is he usually just kind of gravitates towards the pitches that he's really feeling. Like if he's really feeling the slider, can throw it at any count, he'll gravitate towards that. If he's really feeling the fastball and guys, aren't able to make good contact with it, then he'll really gravitate towards that. But it usually takes him a few innings to really feel out, what's really working for him. So I think we might still be in that little bit of an experimentation period.
Stays 2-2. I think we've seen 4 pop-ups land in those first base side seats. The wind is blowing pretty heavily in that direction.
Yeah, wind's blowing in from left center field. Not terribly, just a little bit of a breeze.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Heinrich got caught in between, and Rocker has his 4th strikeout. He had to work a little in the second, but keeps this game scoreless. Commodores and Gamecocks in a top 20 battle to start the SEC season. Max Hers and Andrew Harris in Nashville here on SEC Network Plus. Thanks for joining us for the first of 3. Mark Kingston is the South Carolina head coach, his 4th season. Prior to that was the head coach at South Florida. Took over for Chad Holbrook with the Gamecocks, and finally to start getting his roster intact here in year number 4 with year number 3 well shortened. On the other side, Tim Corbin in his 19th season at Vandy, 2 national championships. And South Carolina is quite possibly the SEC team he's coached against the most, going back to his years as an assistant with Clemson. Parker Nolan leads off the Commodore second against Thomas Farr and taps one to David Mendham. Thomas Farr, 14 pitches for 4 up, 4 down. Here's the series history between Vandy and South Carolina. Gamecocks won 21 in a row, a streak that ended in Tim Corbin's second year behind a complete game from one Jeremy Sowers here in Nashville.
Yeah, there are probably a lot of SEC opponents that kind of had their way with Vandy before Tim Corbin got here.
And about 2 pitches and 2 outs for Thomas Farr in the second.
Yeah, for so long, Vandy was just at the bottom of the SEC, and then Tim Corbin came in 2003, just completely changed the culture, and they had to work really hard to even make it to the SEC tournament, and then they finally were able to do that, and they've just built on each success of each previous year and kind of built it to the national powerhouse that it is today.
C.J. Rodriguez hits 6th for the Commodores. 9th time behind the plate through 16. He's caught all 5 of Rocker's starts, plus all of Christian Little's. Tim Corbin was an assistant coach at Clemson from 1994 through 2002. He said this week he still gets queasy when he hears the rooster sound effect that they play at Founders Park in Columbia. As Coach Corbin watches that foul ball. And he said that sound is like nails on a chalkboard to me. But we will counter. One of his daughters, Molly, did go to SC.
Very true. But yeah, the first time you ever go to that park, it'll scare you if you're not ready for it.
He talked about a Walmart he visited in Seneca where the gear was on each side of the store just to keep the 2 fan bases separate. Clemson, South Carolina. Rodriguez pops this one up. Again, moving with the wind and over the bullpen. You see these fielders, they think those have a chance.
Yeah.
And then they end up on the street.
Yeah, the winds, the flags that we showed you earlier are kind of more in the realm of Hawkins Field, but once the wind or the ball gets above the stadium and gets above the football stadium, that's when that wind really starts to blow. You can see the flags right there. But once the ball gets even up a little bit higher, the wind definitely blows a little bit harder. But I think it's wind aided, but also, I mean, you got to think about Farr's fastball on that outside corner is really getting on top of these hitters, especially the right-handers. So their barrel is lagging a little bit behind, so that's why those balls are flying out to that side.
Rodriguez gets a hold of this one to left center, but up in the wind, and Brady Allen makes the catch. 6 up, 6 down for Thomas Farr to start his SEC season debut and his first ever SEC outing. Both these teams got ready for SEC play with true road series against ranked Big 12 foes last weekend. South Carolina swept at Texas. They were undefeated before that. Vandy took 2 of 3 at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, South Carolina, they lost 3 at Texas, which is a tough place to go into Austin and win any games. But then they lost again to Davidson. So coming in 0-4, looking to really right the ship there. And Vandy, Rocker had a fantastic outing. Leiter had a fantastic outing. And the bats were really swinging as well at that new ballpark they have down at Oklahoma State. So Vandy kind of coming in high. But, you know, it doesn't really matter what happened before then. SEC play starts now, so kind of a whole new season for both these teams.
South Carolina was 11-0 before going to Austin. They are now 11-4. Their midweek game against Davidson was pushed back to Wednesday because of rain. They lost 9-4 at home in a game that lasted over 4 hours. Back-to-back balls from Kamar Rocker to Colin Burgess, the 8th place hitting Gamecock catcher. Burgess lines this one to center. Enrique Bradfield going back, and he makes the catch on the move.
He makes that look so easy. That ball was tagged. I mean, that ball was hit very well with the velocity of Rocker's fastball in the lower part of the zone. We'll take a look. And this ball had some backspin and was tracking, but Bradfield, just such speed, able to track it down right there in the warning track. He was even playing a little bit more in the right center field area, a little bit more to the opposite side. But one of the big reasons I have that guy out there in center field, track those down.
Bradfield, the freshman center fielder, started all 16 games out there for the Commodores this year. 5th-year senior George Khalil is in, native of Australia. Played 2 years at McLennan Community College in Dallas. And now here he is, the steady hand at shortstop for the Cox.
We saw Rocker start him off with a slider that kind of got a little knee buckle and then a a cutter. Let's see what he comes with here.
Swing and a miss, strike three with the fastball.
He did not waste any time. 1, 2, 3 right at him. Challenged Khalil right with the fastball. Started to rise up on him. You saw Khalil had choked up a little bit, but anytime that ball, I mean, it could even be 92 or 91. Once it gets above the letters, it looks so good to the hitters, but it's really hard to get that barrel on top of it.
Back to the leadoff man, Braylon Wimmer, who's retired on a single pitch for the second time. 5 strikeouts the first trip through the order for Kumar Rocker, and just a walk against him. We're rolling on opening night. Dansby Swanson flowing. What else is new? But the wind a factor here as we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Just 1 base runner so far, but balls in the air, a bit of an adventure. Watch Enrique Bradfield's facial expression here.
Yeah, he makes the catch and then looks at his teammates and says, "Ooh, that was a tough one." He loves seeing the freshman get out there, have some fun. A different story if he dropped it, but he made the catch, so it was all good. But yeah, the wind definitely a factor here as that ball gets up in the air a little bit.
Bottom of the 3rd inning, Vanderbilt without a base runner through 2. 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup. Tate Colwick, Bradfield, and Jason Gonzalez against Thomas Farr. Colwick, the junior second baseman, has started every game there for Vandy this season. 15 of them in the 7-hole, 1 hitting 8th. Couple of breaking balls to start him from Farr, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, that slider definitely has some good bite to it, and a lot of late life too. You get some, you saw a couple of little knee buckles there from Colwick, and he comes right back with the fastball. And Farr has done a good job of that, really mixing up the pitches. A good stick there, nice frame there from Burgess. Right
Called strike 3, wow.
Exact same spot. And leaves Tate Colwick with the bat on his shoulder. Take a look at this fastball, just dotted right on the outside corner. Colwick didn't think it was, but definitely looked like it got there.
Farr struck out a career high 10, at least a career high as a D1 pitcher against Texas in 6 innings last week. Pitched 2 years at Northwest Florida State Junior College on the Panhandle. Now his 2nd year with South Carolina and leading off their weekend rotation. Enrique Bradfield is the SEC's leading stolen baseman, 2nd nationally, 13 steals, not caught yet.
Yeah, this is a guy you definitely want to get on base anywhere you can. Does a good job. You saw him just peek there a little bit towards Heinrich, the 3rd baseman, seeing if that's open to use the bunt game.
2 balls, 1 strike. The last 2 games have actually been the first time this season Bradfield has not reached base. But he did get on an error Tuesday, immediately stole 2nd, went to 3rd on a wild pitch, scored on a ground ball, all within the same at bat.
Yeah, with Farr, I mean, he's gotten in such a good rhythm here in the windup. If you can get him in the stretch, just try and get him off his rhythm, try and get him outside that strike zone, probably be advantageous.
There's ball 4. Vandy's first base runner is their best base runner. Both teams with a single walk so far. No hits off of Kumar Rocker or Thomas Farr yet. Here at the bottom of the 3rd. Jason Gonzalez come up. And coming off of one of Vanderbilt's biggest swings of the season, his last AB. Gonzalez, the senior, 2 homers, including 1 Tuesday. And a team high 14 runs batted in, hitting in the 9-hole. Big swing and a miss at the fastball.
Yeah, Gonzalez was definitely hunting that. An early swinger, takes good hacks. A seasoned player. Definitely knows what he's doing up there, but really has come into his own this season, and Tim Corbin really likes him down there at the bottom of the order to really solidify that bottom part. Nice quick move there by Farr. Just trying to make sure that Bradfield is staying close if he's caught leaning at all. See Bradfield, lead kind of stays the same. He's getting a little bit larger. Definitely trying to time him up.
He's off, but he's back. Probably not a great pitch to run on, but ball one.
Yeah, if anything, just the threat of Bradfield running is causing Farr to at least concentrate on him rather than the strike zone. So whether that means he might leave a ball over the plate for Gonzalez to take a good whack at, or he's just trouble to try to find the strike zone, but this is what you can do with a guy on the bases like Bradfield.
Colin Burgess, the South Carolina catcher, has a greater than 50% success rate this season. He's caught 7 out of 13 attempts.
Yeah, I think we'll see that as we get a little closer or further into SEC play. The run game is definitely going to be more of a focus as the games get closer.
He's going, and Gonzalez fouls it off. Straight steal there or hit and run?
I think that was a straight steal. Because Gonzalez, I think he saw he was not happy with the swing that he was getting ready to take, kind of a half swing. And Bradfield got a really good jump on Farr. And also, you don't want to waste a hit and run on your best base runner in the country.
Enrique Bradfield Jr. leads off first.
A little closer there. Nice move there by Farr. Kind of a, I guess you call it the balk move. Kind of flip the front knee, make it look like you're going towards the plate, and then whip around.
He's going. Ball two. Got him! Colin Burgess breaks new ground as the first man to throw out Enrique Bradfield Jr.
Yeah, I think they knew that was coming. Bradfield looked like he got a pretty good jump. A heck of a throw there by Burgess from his knees. A strike on a line to get Bradfield out.
Did Gonzalez go? Yeah, he did. And just like that, the inning's over. Thomas Farr has faced the minimum and not allowed a hit through 3. A senior on last year's Vanderbilt team and a junior on the national championship squad in 2019. What better man to talk about pitching with than former Commodore catcher and Seattle Mariners minor leaguer Ty Duvall. Great to see the Hawk full a couple of years ago. We missed that. He's a national champion, and he will join us here momentarily. We got 2 no-hitters going. I mean, you got to bring one of Vanderbilt's best defensive catchers ever into the show. Ty, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We never got to see your senior year finish up last year, unfortunately, but you signed as an undrafted free agent with the Mariners. What's the last year been like for you as you get ready for your pro debut?
I mean, we really didn't know what to expect, you know, going into the whole quarantine thing. So, I mean, mainly it was just getting ready. We did some remodeling around the house. Then recently we just moved down to Florida from Ohio, where I was previously living. So relocated down to Fort Myers. We've been kind of busy with that, but looking forward to getting the season going again, and good to see some college baseball back on the TV.
Yeah, and Ty, I mean, obviously you had the best view of anyone and the most experiences catching these guys. So talk to us about Rocker, like what makes him so good, and I mean, is the hype real?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, one thing I need to say about Kumar is, like, before we get into the pitching side of it, you know, like all the stories you hear about the teammate that he is and the person he is, you know, all that stuff is real. I mean, he's as good as it gets as a teammate, and he just brings a certain feel to the players when he's on the mound. You just know that you're going to be in the game. And then stuff-wise, I mean, that fastball, you know, it's obviously mid 90s, but it's about halfway to the plate when he's releasing it because he's such a big guy. But then you get so many swings and misses on fastballs right in the middle just because the ball plays so hot and just has that extra bite to it. Then obviously the slider. I mean, it looks like a fastball for just such a long time, and then it drops out right when you're about to swing. There's like a oh dang it moment. Right when you pull the trigger, and it drops right out of the zone. But yeah, he's special and he's fun to watch and definitely fun to catch when he's on.
Yeah, and we'll see Jack Leiter tomorrow. Anything similar between these two guys, or what do you got on Leiter?
Very similar. Yeah, very similar. I mean, one thing I really like about Leiter is his ability and his feel with his breaking ball. I mean, he's a little bit more of a sweepy slider when he wants to. He's got a breaking ball that he can kind of just pop out of hand and kind of, batters will tend to check off on it because they think it's a ball out of hand and it just kind of drops in for a strike. Then obviously he's got the hammer, that looks like a fastball, same thing, and then it just has that 12 to 6 bite that's really really hard to lay off of and hard to recognize as well. And then also you just kind of feel like Leiter, he's always on offense when he's pitching. He's on the mound getting the sign ready to go, and you can just tell he's attacking the hitters.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Kumar Rocker to start this top of the fourth inning. And Ty, anyone who's heard you answer these questions has appreciated how well you think the game. You're a big subscriber to the mental game, read a lot of Ken Revisa's work, I know. How much did the way that you think about baseball change while you were at Vandy and develop?
Well, a lot. I mean, I've always been a student of the game. I've been in the game for a really long time, and I still learn new stuff every day. So, I mean, going into this, when we have, literal classroom for baseball, we're talking about different types of, bunt defenses, why we do this bunt defense, and a bunch of different things. I mean, it was a great environment for me to learn, and learn from one of the best coaches in college, the best coach in college baseball. But, yeah, he was awesome to be around, awesome to pick his brain and learn, and definitely helped me mature as a player and a person off the field for sure.
Wes Clark's at the plate for South Carolina right now. Who are the most challenging SEC hitters you ever game planned against?
It's tough off the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot of guys here and there that you had to be a little bit more careful with, but typically when you got guys like this on the mound, you're not really worried about who you're facing. You're just throwing the best stuff that you can, and if they can hit it, great. If they can't, it is what it is. But we're just kind of sticking to our strengths.
Clark pops this one up. Playable on the right side of the Vandy infield for Parker Noland. 1-2-3 inning for Kumar Rocker. Ty Duvall, so great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Vandy catcher the last 4 years. Kumar Rocker, just a walk through 4. If you like pitching, you turned on the correct game. No hits the first trip through the lineup for either side as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Kumar Rocker on a chilly night. You saw him with the jacket. Thomas Farr back to the bump for South Carolina. Walked Enrique Bradfield in the third. Then Colin Burgess threw him out. First time this year that Vandy has sent the minimum the first time through.
Yeah, no surprise here. First SEC weekend, but it's starting to get a little bit cooler tonight, but both of these pitchers, both Rocker and Farr, still pumping mid-90s with their fastballs, so that adrenaline's still pumping.
Leadoff man Cooper Davis starts the Vandy fourth and takes a fastball strike. Davis flew out to left his first time. Farr 3 strikeouts, 2 air outs, 2 ground outs, and the caught stealing. Rocker's got 7 strikeouts, plus 4 in the air and 1 on the ground. Davis pops this one up, drifting out of play, and the leadoff man took until his senior year, but hit his first college homer 2 Tuesdays ago against Memphis.
Yeah, and it kind of surprised us. We were like, oh, it's a gap shot, and he just kept riding out of here. And you see the reaction from his teammates, and they were pretty jacked up about him. Tim Corbin told you the other day, Max, that it was a wind-aided home run, but I'll give Cooper Davis some credit. That had some juice to it. It wasn't wind-aided.
Robbed of a hit by Jeff Heinrich there. And Tim Corbin had some jokes for Cooper Davis on St. Patrick's Day this week. He said it was a wind-aided home run and then continued. We could certainly on a day like today when we're celebrating leprechauns, celebrate Cooper Davis as being that and being someone who should stick to his short game. So he called him short, and then he called his offensive style short. Always great zingers from Tim Corbin.
Yeah, but I will say Cooper Davis does give it right back to Tim Corbin if you've ever been in the dugout with him.
Carter Young struck out looking his first time. Tuesday was the first game all year Carter Young didn't have a hit. Young now hitting .350 on the season to start his sophomore year, hitting in the Commodore 2-hole. 21 of his first 60 with 4 homers, 5 doubles, and 2 triples.
Just looking at some of the swings that these Commodore hitters are taking on far. I mean, with the fastball, it looks like I mentioned mid-90s, and we saw just 193. I mean, it looks like it's a little bit faster than that. Just the spin rate on that fastball is a little bit extra, and then that big hammer of a slider. Really tough for these guys to stay on balance, and Farr's done a fantastic job to take another look. Gets right underneath the hands. Anytime you see some uncomfortable, awkward swings, you know they're not really picking it up well out of the hand.
Jack Bolger grounded out to short to end the first. Cold night, no batting gloves as usual for Jack Bolger. He says he has almost never worn them. Tried it when he was 13 and hated it. I'd say it worked out pretty well for him. Bolger was a potential day 1 draft pick out of high school. Decided to go the college route, especially with the shortened draft. And here he is, playing nearly every day for Vandy so far.
Yep, he's a young kid with a lineup that had a lot of older players that were a little bit more solidified in that lineup, but Bolger, a kid that can play a lot of different positions and swings the bat well, so Tim Corbin always trying to find a way to get him in there.
The absence opening up a spot for Bolger is Dominic Keegan. He tested positive for COVID earlier last week. The COVID is gone. Keegan is here, and he is on the playing roster for this weekend, as is Luke Murphy, who was contact traced by Keegan's positive test. So both those guys could play later this weekend. They could play later tonight.
Right.
Keegan just not in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how COVID really kind of takes some of those big bats out of the lineup, as a huge hammer there from Farr.
5 strikeouts for Thomas Farr. No hits and just 1 walk against the Gamecock ace through 4 scoreless. Going toe-to-toe with Kamar Rocker. Kamar Rocker and Thomas Farr in our SEC opening ace-off. Makes you think back. 7 years ago this weekend, Tyler Beatty and Aaron Nola. A much-hyped matchup. Kamar Rocker hyped up every time he takes the mound, and Rocker and his family would humbly request that fans and media pronounce his first name Kamar, not Kumar, as we have heard.
We are in the South, so that name does take a little bit more of a draw, but definitely it's Kamar.
As we play the name game, Andrew Eister is in the batter's box for South Carolina. Grounds this one up the middle. Nice play by Colwick on the backhand. What a play.
Wow. They had played Eister a little bit up the middle and actually a little bit more to the pull side, so Colwick was towards that second base bag. And take a look here. I think the ball off of the mound gave it a little bit of extra time to stay up in the air, but on the run, heck of a play there by Colwick.
Tate Colwick keeps this ball game hitless on both sides. Wes Clark and Enrique Bradfield Jr. have both walked. Other than that, the first base coaches have been lonely as Rocker gets a call up and away to David Mendham. Mendham lined out to right his first time. Big swing and a miss.
Well, it came out of his shoes. Take a look at the swing from Mendham. A fastball up in the zone. He legitimately almost left his helmet on the ground. Trying to sneak a little one out of here.
Mendham last season for Connors State Community College slashed .493, .606 on base, .795 slugging.
It's pretty good.
That will get it done. Rocker missed high, thought he had strike 3.
Yeah, Rocker was off the mound. Take a look at here, the slider on the outside corner. That looked like it came right back down. You saw Rodriguez come out and get ready to throw it around the horn. I got to go right back to work.
Line drive through the shift for the first hit of the ball game. It took us 5 innings, but South Carolina and David Mendham have the first hit for anybody at the Hawk.
And it wasn't a bad spot either. Fastball on the outside corner and a nice job by Mendham staying right on it. 96 and shot it right back up the middle. A good job of hitting there. Kept it short, 2 strikes.
So after Tate Kolwick makes the type of play you look back on at the end of a no-hitter,
right,
the no-hitter ends. Heinrich struck out swinging on a slider to end the second. Taps that cutter back to the screen. The majority of the batting averages for South Carolina are in the high 200s, low to mid 300s, but they have really cooled off over the last week, losing 4 in a row after starting 11-0. Mark Kingston said, "I just hope the losses against Texas don't kill the momentum we had going into that weekend."
Yeah, I mean, they started off on a tear.
It doesn't get any easier with Vandy this weekend and Florida next weekend.
Yeah.
1-2.
And especially to have to go to Texas at Austin and then come into Hawkins Field where Vandy is so good and rarely lose. So a tall order for South Carolina, but probably a good test early in the season and make them better down the way.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 8 for Kamar Rocker.
And we heard Ty Duvall talking about just how hard it is to pick up that slider. It's super tight on the outside corner. I actually talked a little bit further with Ty last night, and he was saying when Rocker is in the pin, that slider, it's really good. But once he gets in the game mode and he really gets that adrenaline going, it just gets a little bit of an extra bite. And even if he knows it's coming, sometimes it's even hard to pick up and catch because he just has so much drop to it, and it goes at the last minute. So if your catcher is having trouble actually catching that, then as a hitter, it is even harder. A nice block there by Rodriguez.
All 19 strikeouts in Rocker's no-hitter on June 8th, 2019 came on that slider, and they were all swinging. Before that night, we had seen that pitch, but it didn't take on its full mythical reality until then.
Right.
Most impressively, though, it's still not really hittable.
Right.
2-1, perfectly located heater.
And the one thing with that slider is if you do get a piece of it, it has so much spin to it, so it's not going to be a really well hit ball. You see a nice fastball on the outside corner. Like the sliders that are put in play, are rarely squared up. So even if you are able to connect with it, it's tough.
Swing and a miss. We've seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 cutters tonight, I'd say. Kind of takes on the same movement as that slider, just harder.
Yeah, just harder. Anytime you can decelerate the ball or accelerate the ball in addition to moving the eye angle, it just makes it that much more difficult.
Or just grounds a slow one to Carter Young. Vandy's out of the inning. First hit of the game for anybody goes to David Mendham, but Kamar Rocker bounces back with a strikeout and weak contact to shortstop. We are scoreless with just one hit at the halfway point. At the end of that last inning, look at Tim Corbin. This man loves his ace.
Yeah, Tim Corbin jacked up. You saw he gave up that one hit, came right back out. Still attacking. You see the line there. Rocker, 68 pitches, 8 strikeouts. Really pitching well. And similar so far on the other end, a really good pitching matchup this here first Friday SEC weekend.
Rocker has thrown 69% strikes so far. Farr has thrown 65% strikes. The majority of these at-bats have been short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, they have. Nobody's wasted any time. And kind of what you expect out of Friday night guys. It's been a while since we've seen Friday SEC pitching. You see the line there for Farr.
No hits for Vandy, 1 hit for South Carolina. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 4, 5, and 6 for the Commodores as Farr has faced the minimum. Only base runner was Enrique Bradfield Jr., who walked and was caught stealing for the first time this season in the 3rd.
I saw Nolan square around. It looked like Heinrich was playing a little bit further back, so trying to get somebody on, get a base runner, try and get that goose egg off the board.
1-1 on Parker Nolan. There may be some Gamecock fans out there saying, didn't we just face this guy? Well, you almost did. Davidson center fielder on Wednesday, Parker Nolan. Wildcats went into Columbia and won 9-4 on Wednesday. Former Commodore Rucker Taylor is the Davidson skipper. Wildcats were here for the first time ever a couple years ago. Nolan bounces this one to Braylon Wimmer. Underhand flip for the out. The man who can play just about anywhere makes a nice play at second.
Yeah, I think that was all Wimmer could do. Come in, was getting ready to transfer. Just had to flip it underhand. That's a good thing about this turf as well. I mean, you're going to get a lot of good true hops, so you kind of come at all costs, barreling down to get some of those early Sunday hops.
Isaiah Thomas next for Vandy. Wimmer, the second baseman tonight, has started 6 games there this season. 7 in center is where he's played most frequently, plus 1 at first and 1 in left field. He's their best outfield defender, Mark Kingston says, and he could challenge George Khalil to be their best infield defender, too. His versatility makes Jacob Olson look like Justin Smoke.
That's a name out of the past, Justin Smoke. Saw him hit his fair share of home runs here at Hawkins Field.
Wes Clark had a 3-homer game a few weeks back. He's the first guy to do that for Carolina since Smoke in 08.
And not a bad spot there by Farr. A nice job by Burgess framing that up, but just trying to get Thomas to chase out there.
Lines this one for Vandy's first hit. 5th inning breakthroughs, a single for both teams.
And a nice job there by Thomas. Earlier in the season, he probably would have gone out and chased that pitch before on the outside corner and struck out, but He's really done a good job these past few weeks of laying off those pitches outside the zone, just relaxing and really letting those quick hands and those, just instincts take over.
Thomas was mired in a 3 for 21 stretch and has since broken out of it, going 10 for his last 24, now over a 6-game span.
Yeah, Thomas, he just looks a little bit more relaxed up at the plate, whereas before he was taking some awkward swings. So definitely a guy that Tim Corbin's going to need firing on all cylinders here as we get into SEC play.
Rodriguez flew out to center his first time at the end of a 7-pitch at bat. No hits for anybody through the first 4. David Mendham and Isaiah Thomas hits here in the 5th. No play to be made in the Commodore dugout. Thomas Farr in just his 8th Division I outing. Made 3 starts last year. This is his 5th. The redshirt junior college transfer. His numbers for South Carolina are unbelievable. His whip is right around 1 over the course of 7+ starts. He's now gone 42 1/3 innings and struck out 49 batters.
Yeah, he gets a lot of swing and miss. You see that with that tight slider.
A lot of scouts in the building, as there will be for every SEC game. Thomas Farr, a name you would expect to be called pretty early.
Yeah.
He's 6 foot tall, right on the nose, 195 pounds. Very polished right-hander.
Yeah, the good thing about Farr is he's got really good stuff, but he knows how to use it. He's not just getting up there and slinging fastballs and sliders. I mean, he's doing it in plus counts. He's doing it in any time that he wants and placing it in the positions that he wants as well.
Stays 1-2 on Rodriguez. Farr has allowed a single run in all 4 starts this season, and 3 of those 5 have come against traditional college baseball powers: Clemson, Texas, and now Vandy. They only got to play 2 of their 3 usual games, South Carolina and Clemson. Gamecocks won them both. 1 at home, 1 in Greenville. Good take by Rodriguez, and Thomas goes to second.
Yeah, Vandy can get a little bit of a sigh of relief getting a guy in scoring position, and kind of a weird pass ball there by Burgess. Thought he was able to trap it. But in a game that we know that runs are going to be a premium, Vandy has an opportunity here to get the goose egg off the board and put some in the gap.
First runner in scoring position for either team, and Skylar Meade, the Gamecocks pitching coach, is out of the dugout for a visit with his ace, Thomas Farr. Last time Vanderbilt played in an SEC game, this happened. Bill Clark right up the middle. 11-10, Vandy wins it as the Commodores come back from 9-1 down in the SEC title game against Ole Miss in May of 2019.
Yeah, and the rest is history. I mean, that 2019 team just ran the gamut all the way up to the national championship. Yeah, that one of the better memories I have of Vandy over the years. A huge hit there by Clark, but a big reason why a lot of these guys are here, just with the notoriety that Vandy has had over the years. Top players from all over the country want to continue their playing days here in Nashville, Tennessee.
2019 Commodores won the SEC regular season and tournament titles. Rodriguez smokes this one to left, and we finally got a run on the board. 1-0 Commodores on an RBI double by C.J. Rodriguez.
And in SEC baseball, just the little things are what's going to happen to really capitalize on getting those runs. As a fastball, it looks like it was missed. It was supposed to be on the outside corner, kind of ran back in. Rodriguez was able to get his hands extended and get that through. But if you think that that pass ball hadn't happened, you know, Thomas wouldn't have been able to get in the scoring position, and they wouldn't have been able to get that run. So every little inch, every little thing counts here in SEC ball.
Rodriguez was down 0-2, and 5 pitches later, smokes a double on a 3-2 pitch. Tate Kolwick's next. Kolwick has started every game at second base for Vandy, and Tim Corbin says that Kolwick elevates people and their personality. Exhibit A of that, last Sunday, Tim Corbin had to pull Thomas Schultz in the second inning, down 6-0. The entire infield was in on the mound with Coach Corbin, and Kolwick said to his head coach, "Corbs, this is going to be really fun coming back in this one." And they almost did it.
Yeah, it's a funny story, Max, but that is true. You hear that from a lot of the different teammates, and a guy who just loves to be out there, loves to play, a super athletic guy, but just plays with such a passion and positivity, and that's why Tim Corbin likes him out there in the middle of the infield to kind of run that out there with Carter Young. And he's really started to swing the bat this year as well.
Kolwick lines this one to center for a base hit. 3 straight hits for the Commodores after getting no hit through 4 1/3.
A really good looking swing here. A pretty well executed pitch too. I mean, it was a curveball in the outside corner that Kolwick just went right with. You know, I think these Commodore hitters are starting to relax up there a little bit, and they might have been pressing earlier with, you know, trying to recognize the fastball in the slider there from far, but it looks like they've just been taking the pitch as it's come and just taking a good whack at it. They've also been able to see what the shape of that breaking ball looks like from the batter's box, because, you know, you can look at, the synergies and the different software out there and kind of see the pitch from a video standpoint, but until you get in the box, you don't really know what that looks like.
Bradfield bunts, far fields it, can't get it out, and Vandy makes it 2-0. Enrique Bradfield Jr. creating chaos.
Everybody knows Tim Corbin likes to do the safety squeeze with runners in at first and third, but when you got a guy at the plate like Bradfield who can really run and places that ball perfectly right in that triangle, it just causes so much havoc. It causes the pitcher, first baseman, and second baseman all to converge, and Farr, even though he was able to even field it, still had trouble figuring out, am I going to tag him or throw it, just because of the speed of Bradfield. But Commodores doing a lot of good stuff here at the plate here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
4 straight hits after Farr had not allowed a hit and faced the minimum through his first 13 batters. One ball, no strikes on Jason Gonzalez. This is already Farr's most laborious inning of the game. He's thrown 21 pitches here in the 5th. Before that, his highest pitch total was 14 in the 3rd. That was when Bradfield walked and was caught stealing. Gonzalez struck out his first time against Farr to end the 3rd. 1 pitch after Bradfield was thrown out. Thomas singled to right, went to second on a pass ball. Rodriguez doubled to the left field corner to make it 1-0. Kolwick a line drive single up the middle, and Bradfield a squeeze bunt single. 4 straight hits for the Commodores. 2-2. Thomas Farr trying to pitch out of trouble and keep this game at 2-0 with Kamar Rocker throwing a one-hit shutout on the other end. Ball 3, tough take.
Yeah, I thought about it. Yeah, Farr definitely slowed down his pace. In the windup, I mean, he was really rolling, had good command of all of his pitches. Now in the stretch, Commodores are making him work a little bit.
Colwick on second, Bradfield on first with Jason Gonzalez in a full count. Half swing, appeal to first, strike 3. Big second out for Thomas Farr, ends the string of 4 straight hits.
It was a heck of a pitch here by Farr, and a well executed one at that with runners in scoring position. Slider on the outside corner. Really late bite to it. Yeah, Gonzalez just not able to hold up that barrel across in front of the plate.
Cooper Davis 0 for 2, a pop out to left and a hard line out to third last time. Bouncer over Farr's head. Khalil handles and gets Davis at first by a couple steps. But Vandy breaks the ice. 2 runs on 4 straight hits. They were being no hit. Now it's 2-0 Vandy boys. 10th anniversary of South Carolina's back-to-back college baseball national championships in 2010. The final year at Rosenblatt in 2011, the first year at TD Ameritrade. 10 years later, Vanderbilt in unconventional fashion, Andrew Harris, trying to become the first team since then to go back-to-back with a bye in between.
Right, Vandy right now is still the reigning national champions from back in 2019, which is crazy to think about, but definitely remember that 2011 team in particular because Vanderbilt was actually in Omaha at TD Ameritrade when we were there. But South Carolina was really good that year. Florida also really good that year. They were on our side of the bracket, and we had some issues with Florida in that season.
I was going to say, drop a "we" in there, Andrew. You were on that team.
Yeah.
Let the people know. George Khalil up against Kamar Rocker, who's allowed just a hit and a walk through 5 scoreless. How cool was it to be a part of the first game at the new stadium in Omaha?
It was so cool. I mean, just the fans and the way that the community just embraces you. And being a new team that had never been there, I mean, we really felt like we had the city's support. And to be a part of the team that did have a lot of those firsts, like Connor Harrell hitting the first home run at TD Ameritrade, and Tony Kemp taking the first at bat and getting the first hit at TD Ameritrade, and then just a few short years later for Vandy to actually win there, it was pretty special.
Called strike 3 with the slider. 9 strikeouts for Kamar Rocker.
It was one of the best sliders we've seen today. I mean, take a look at where this thing starts and then where it ends. And as a hitter, you just got no shot. It's super hard to pick that up.
George Khalil has struck out twice against Rocker, as has Jeff Heinrich and Brady Allen and Josiah Seitler. So that's 8 of the 9 right there have come from 4 guys. Back to the top for Braylon Wimmer, who leads off for the first time this year. Allen in the 2-hole, that's new. Wes Clark in the 4-hole, that's also new. He'd been hitting 3rd every game. See if Wimmer can beat this one out, and he does. Second hit and 3rd base runner for SC.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything that Gonzalez could do there. Kind of a swinging bunt. Gonzalez was played back pretty far. I think if he, only chance would have been to maybe even barehand it, but still does the right thing. Takes care of the baseball, just keeps that runner at first base.
Brady Allen 0 for 2 with those 2 strikeouts. One swinging at a fastball, one swinging at a slider. Went down 0-2 both times. Allen now 0 for 7, dating back to Wednesday's game against Davidson. Before that, back-to-back multi-hit games with 3 combined doubles in the final 2 at Texas. Gamecocks were swept over the weekend, 4-1, 3-0, and 8-5, in a series that Mark Kingston said was a clash of styles. Gamecocks couldn't get the power game going.
Yeah, South Carolina plays a lot on the long ball, 23 home runs coming into tonight. So really rely on a lot of that for that run production.
Rockers ahead 0-2 with a couple of sliders. So again, 3 trips to the plate. Brady Allen down 0-2 all 3 times. Two hits and a walk against Rocker as the Cocks go through their order for a 3rd time. Hit to Gonzalez, going to second, safe there. Wimmer didn't slide, but still beat the throw.
Yeah, kind of a funky play here. A nice job and a nice scoop right there by Gonzalez. I thought he was going to go to first base because he was kind of, that momentum was going. But a good job by Kolick just to keep his eye on the ball and at least glove that thing, because he did have the runner right in his face. But nonetheless, nobody out, or they didn't get anybody out, so now it's still just 1. Looking for another double play.
Josiah Seitler's up, and he lines this one down the left field line and off the green monster for extra bases. Wimmer scores, and it's an RBI double. First earned run allowed this season by Kamar Rocker.
And that was just a good piece of hitting. It wasn't a bad pitch. If anything, it might have been left up just a little bit. But it went the other way with it. And South Carolina able to do something no team so far has done, is get a run off of Rocker.
2nd and 3rd with 1 out for Wes Clark, the big bat for Carolina. Rocker had allowed 1 run this season. It was 2 weeks ago against UIC. It was originally scored an earned run.
Right.
Then a wild pitch was changed to a pass ball, so the earned run came off the board. 28 1/3 innings before the first earned run here. Swing and a miss by Clark. Clark walked his first time. It was the first South Carolina base runner. Popped out to first base in the 4th. It's the first time all game that South Carolina has had multiple base runners in the same inning. We were hitless through 4. Now we've got 7 hits on the board.
I think that's just the product of both of these teams going through the lineup a few times, seeing what each pitcher's got, the shape of the different breaking balls.
Swing and a miss makes it 0-2. Back-to-back off speeds as Vanderbilt plays the infield back.
Yeah, just trying to get some space with Clark at the plate. They're not going to be playing in because they do have the lead. But don't want to give up a big inning. They'd rather at least just get an easy out if that ball is hit up the middle.
The turf plays very fast here at Hawkins Field. And that was one thing Mark Kingston said coming out of Texas. Their turf is slow, and that's not what we want.
Yeah, the fast turf definitely plays more for the offensive-minded team. Those balls in the holes really get quick.
Clark grounds this one to 3rd. Gonzalez thought about coming home. Now gets the out at first. Safe at third. South Carolina ties it as Wes Clark gets the job done.
And I thought Rocker did a good job and got the ground ball to Gonzalez, who was able to potentially make a play at home plate. And I thought I saw Rodriguez jump up and down like, hey, we had an option. We had an option here at home, but wasn't able to do that. Regardless, they got the out, but South Carolina able to tie it up.
Gamecocks tie the game against Rocker, and Andrew Eister's next. Fastball at the knees, 0-1. We haven't seen it as much this week, Andrew, but last week against Oklahoma State, Rocker was really getting some arm side finish on his fastball. Pitching coach Scott Brown says he's just finally getting through the ball really well on every pitch.
I think that's something that he and Scott Brown worked with a lot this offseason. Is he's such a big guy that getting his whole body all moving in the same way and kind of in sync with everything is tough to do. And when he's able to do that, I mean, the ball can really run as he gets a good spin rate on it.
Eister takes down low. It's 1-2. Rocker is 6'5", 245 pounds, and he's really simplified his delivery this year with his big frame. Swing and a miss, strike three. Rodriguez has to complete the strikeout, and he does. South Carolina answers Vanderbilt's 2 in the bottom of the 5th with 2 runs on 2 hits in the top of the 6th. We are tied. I referenced the Tyler Beatty-Aaron Nola game from 2014 earlier, and just like that one, this one has gone from scoreless and hitless to 2-2 real quick.
Yeah. Vandy in the 5th inning quickly came out, got 2 runs on 4 consecutive hits, and then South Carolina said, I see your 2, and I'll give you 2 right back. A couple of miscues on the infield for Vandy, but right back kind of where we started from a few innings ago, and it still is a fantastic pitching matchup and all you could ask for on a Friday night and opening season of SEC play.
Thomas Farr back with 75 pitches in his 6th inning of work. He had not allowed a hit until the bottom of the 5th when Vandy got 4 straight off of him for a pair of runs. 2 of his 6 strikeouts have been Carter Young, the 2nd place hitting shortstop, who's now 0 for his last 6 on the week. Young has used that same model of red DeMarini bat both of his college seasons. Last year he used Austin Martin's old bat, which Martin passed down to him and was 33 inches long. He said he could only use it in games though, because if he used it in BP and swung with it all the time, it would get too hot and taken out in bat testing. This year he's actually moved on from that bat, same model, but an inch longer. This one belongs to Jason Gonzalez. He likes the extra inch of barrel and power. It's really shown up with how he's driven balls this year.
Yeah, I think he's gotten stronger and the hands have gotten quicker. So given that and also the extra inch on the bat, gives a little bit extra oomph behind it.
Young draws a walk. He's aboard for the first time today. 2nd walk issued by Farr.
And Vandy had some success against Farr last inning when they were able to get him out of the windup and out of that rhythm into the stretch. But let's see if Farr can settle back in here. Only 80 pitches so far, so you got to think he's still got some bullets left in the tank.
He's really pitched to contact in this game. 6 strikeouts through 5 innings. 3 outs in the air, 5 on the ground, plus a caught stealing. Jack Bolger's 0 for 2. Freshman DH for the Commodores with the 3rd baseman Heinrich way in. Bolger, as many Vandy hitters will do, showed that bunt way early, pulled it back, and the defense doesn't adjust.
Yeah, sometimes they'll throw it out there and go right back and hit. Sometimes they'll throw it out there and go right back and bunt. It's just a way to kind of see how the defense is working back there and potentially open up some holes.
Foul tip, strike 2. Thomas Farr allowed multiple runs for the first time this season in start number 5. And not allowed a hit through 4 1/3. Redshirt junior from Tyrone, Georgia on the mound for the Gamecocks. We're really looking forward to the pitching matchups all weekend. Jack Leiter for Vandy tomorrow against Brandon Jordan. Then Thomas Schultz for the Commodores Sunday, and South Carolina sends Julian Bosnick. Tomorrow's game is at 11 a.m. here in Nashville, noon Eastern, nationally televised on the SEC Network. Then we'll be back with you here on SEC Plus on Sunday at 1 Central.
Yeah, that 11 a.m. game tomorrow is going to be a little different for these guys. I mean, you think about how early they have to get here to the park to, go through batting practice and get stretched and warmed up. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for them tomorrow, and got to get in bed early tonight.
Half swing. Appeal to first. Yes, he did. Bolger not happy with the call, but he's out.
And Farr's gotten so many strikeouts tonight on that slider and a lot of those half swings. And take a look at the side swing here from Bolger. Yeah, it does look like that barrel crossed the plate.
Daniel Cricks is the first base umpire on this SEC crew. Got his first couple of appeals correct. That one, Jack Bolger disagrees. Parker Nolan's 0 for 2, a couple of pull side groundouts for the Vandy sophomore first baseman. Nolan, naturally a third baseman, started the final 14 games there for Vandy as a freshman last season, pushing Austin Martin out to center field. This year he's mostly DH'd, played a couple of games at third, now filling in for Dom Keegan at first. Keegan is on Vandy's 30-man roster this weekend after testing positive for COVID last week. And he is in the ballpark tonight.
It is good to know. We know that in COVID testing, I mean, these guys get tested a couple times a week. But good to see, or at least know that they're back in the park and potential to come back this weekend.
Runner going, swing and a miss. And the throw goes into center. Young holds up at second after the steal.
Now that, I think, was definitely a hit and run. Looked like they were trying for the pitch out. The ball sails on Burgess just a little bit. A nice job by the shortstop, Khalil, faking the tag to make sure that Young stays on the base and doesn't try and advance anymore.
Fake me out. Carter Young, the Vandy shortstop, says, I'm going to take that and put it in my fake package. He's in scoring position as Vanderbilt attempts to retake the lead here in the 6th. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Thomas Farr has 8 strikeouts, and that's a big one.
Yeah, a heck of a fastball right here, up and in to Nolan. Gets right in underneath the hands, a very, very well executed pitch. And in a big spot too. And breathe a little bit easier there with 2 outs now.
Isaiah Thomas comes next. He had Vanderbilt's first hit his last time. Slapped a 2-2 pitch the other way near the right field line for a single. Scored Vanderbilt's first run. It was 0-0 after 4.5. Vandy and South Carolina have each put up 2 spots in the last 2 half innings.
We just saw a first pitch slider there from far. You know, as some of these younger hitters start to get a little bit more experienced, anytime there's a guy in scoring position and a pitcher does have a good feel for that first pitch or for that breaking ball, a lot of times they'll just kind of throw it in there to steal a strike. But if you're savvy enough and you can sit on it and he does hang one, it's a good pitch to try and take a good whack at. But when you do have the sharpness of the breaking ball like far, it is tough to do that. But every once in a while they might hang one.
Thomas enters the game as one of 4 Commodore hitters to play in an SEC contest prior to tonight. Of course, there were no SEC games last season. Thomas, as a freshman in 2019, got into 11 SEC games, had 23 plate appearances. Some of those outings were as a defensive replacement. But he had some time in center and right field that year when Pat DeMarco was hurt.
Yeah, only he and his fellow outfielder Cooper Davis are the ones that have had SEC experience. So everyone else, new ground for him.
Thomas was on Vanderbilt's postseason and College World Series roster that year as a freshman. Did not get into a game in Omaha. He and Dominic Keegan were the 2 freshman position players who were on that roster. Kamar Rocker, of course, was. Not a surprise. He was the College World Series most outstanding player. Ethan Smith was there too, as well as Chance Huff, who's now pitching at Georgia Tech. Did he go? Another appeal to first. No swing.
Take a look at the side. It looks like he held up.
Carter Young at second with 2 down. Thomas Farr trying to keep this ball game tied. 3-2. Farr approaching 100 pitches. He's thrown 5 here to Thomas. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went down and away with the slider, 3-2. And after the leadoff walk, Thomas Farr strikes out 3 straight. Bolger, Nolan, and Thomas all fishing. Still 2-2. 2-2 ball game. Top 20 matchup in the SEC opener between Vandy and South Carolina. Max Hers and Andrew Harris, thanks so much for joining us on this Friday night, 1st of 3. Best sports weekend of the year. Definitely the best college sports weekend of the year.
By far.
Oh, yeah. SEC baseball and first couple rounds of March Madness. Vandy and South Carolina, at least on the men's side, have both turned their attention to baseball. South Carolina women's basketball team, as always, one of the top seeds. They'll be in San Antonio. Kamar Rocker dealing to David Mendham, who had the Gamecocks' first hit with 1 out in the 5th last time. Lined a single to left. Rocker's thrown 86 pitches, 62 strikes, 24 balls. We talked last half inning, Andrew, about Rocker finishing his pitches and finally being able to feel that against Oklahoma State last week. Scott Brown, his pitching coach, who's been working on that with him, said, when you have a guy who's Kamar Rocker's level, you're just giving him little cues here and there, and he figures it out.
Yeah, I talked with Scott Brown at the beginning of the season. He said the exact same thing. I mean, for Rocker, when he came in, and he already had such great stuff, just kind of suggesting a few things to tweak it here and there has really helped him. And Scott Brown said more than anything, the mental game for Rocker has just only increased. And they said, you know, from the time he was a freshman to when he kind of went into his sophomore year is really when that mentality shifted into more of a big league mentality, to where every single one of his outings, every single one of even his bullpens was the intent of he's in full attack game mode. And they've just been very impressed with his preparation. And we heard Ty Duvall, his former catcher, mention that as well. Just the how locked in he is, and just what a great teammate he is as well.
Ball 4 to Mendham. Rocker upset with himself after issuing his second free pass.
And something Scott Brown did in order to, kind of spread that mentality across the rest of the pitching staff is bring in guys on Zoom like Walker Buehler. I mean, while they were watching the World Series this past fall, a lot of the guys had questions. How does Walker do what he does? I mean, how does he throw his slider? And they had a lot of good questions. And Scott Brown said, let's just bring in Walker on Zoom and actually ask those questions directly. So to be able to have a guy who has some success like Buehler and him to open up and explain how he throws his different stuff is so vital for a lot of these young guys.
Heinrich sacrifices foul on the first pitch. Shows bunt again on the 0-1 after the leadoff walk. Foul again, it's 0-2.
That's such a tough pitch to hit. Or at least bunt. The slider just got so much spin. You see it's put in a perfect spot.
It landed fair.
Yeah, I mean, it was right there. I mean, exactly where you want to put that ball, but the ball just grabs the bat. It's got so much spin and rolled off the foul.
Heinrich's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Down 0-2 after a couple bunt tries. Grounder to Colwick. Gets the lead man second. Double play. This might be reviewed, but a tough turn, and Vandy at least made it close.
Yeah, first base umpire Daniel Cricks took a little bit of time to make that call, but a heck of a play by Colwick, going to his left and a quick turn there by Young, and a nice pick over there by Nolan. We'll take a look. Yeah, that looks like that foot hit the bag before the ball got in there.
South Carolina not challenging.
Yeah. Looks safe to me.
I thought so too. The 7th inning is the last inning you can challenge, and you got 2. Nobody's used one yet tonight, so not really any downside to doing it there, I'd say.
Yeah, Mendham actually was the one saying, hey, let's check it out. See, Vandy's defense ranked 6th in double plays.
Burgess pops one up. Rodriguez has to adjust, and it falls safely. New life for Burgess. It's 1-2.
Yeah, Rodriguez really got turned around there. Wind looks like it's died down a little bit, but it could have had something to do with it.
Do you think he saw that one right away?
I was going to say, I think he saw it right away, and I think he lost it because, I mean, he was way out of position for that. Looked like Burgess was saying, hey, man, I've had something happen similarly. 2 catchers talking.
Kumar Rocker approaching 100 pitches in his first SEC start. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kumar Rocker is fired up, and he's got 11 strikeouts. Tie ball game as we stretch. If that's it for Kumar Rocker, and who knows, a good way to finish. 7th inning stretch at the Hawk. Good to have limited fans in the building. The attendance has been somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 in this 3,500 capacity ballpark over the last few weeks. They've been treated to a good one, as have you here on SEC Network Plus. Kumar Rocker and Thomas Farr going toe-to-toe. Farr's back on the mound as freshman right-hander Jack Mahoney appears close to ready in the South Carolina bullpen. So 2 great outings by the starters so far. Neither allowed a hit through the first 4 innings. Vandy got their 2 in the bottom of the 5th on 4 straight hits. South Carolina answered with 2 on 3 hits and a misplayed fielder's choice in the top of the 6th. 6, 7, and 8 in the Vandy order against Farr, who's now thrown 95 pitches. This is up and in to CJ Rodriguez. He drove in Vanderbilt's first run with a double into the left field corner last time. Goes in that same direction, but foul.
And the way this game has gone, it just seems like the little things are what cause those runs to come across, and you got to think it's going to be the same in these last few innings. A missed pitch here or there, so every single little pitch is super important.
2-1 on CJ Rodriguez.
And you got to think both sides of the ball will be excited to see a new pitcher out there, as both these pitchers are getting up over 100 pitches here.
Rocker has thrown 100. He threw 103 over 8 scoreless last week. So we wait and see if he comes back as Thomas Farr deals in the bottom of the 7th. Three and 2. Ball 4. Pitch number 100 produces Vanderbilt's 2nd straight leadoff base runner.
And you saw the frustration there from Farr. He got nobody out. Tie ball game. Last thing you want to do is get that first guy on. There's so many things that Vandy can do. Put guys in motion, hit and run, bunt them over. A lot to work with, no outs.
Skylar Meade out to the mound for South Carolina. He's the pitching coach. He makes the changes, and he will here. You can almost see Farr looking to the dugout saying,
yeah,
come on, don't come get me, don't come get me.
I think he knew after that walk, he said, might be it for me. A fantastic job for Thomas Farr tonight.
6+ innings, 4 hits, 2 runs at the moment, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Jack Mahoney coming on in a big spot. Tie game, bottom 7. The first arm out of the Carolina bullpen in SEC play is a true freshman. Jack Mahoney has certainly earned the opportunity for the Gamecocks so far.
Yeah, 8 appearances so far on the season. Solid pitcher, comes right over the top. Gets good angle on the fastball, 92 to 95, and good sharp breaking ball. 82 to 84. So kind of coming in after Thomas Farr, who did a fantastic job. You see the line on Farr, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. You see the frustration, just wanted to continue to run on. But SEC ball, you just got to go until you can't and let that good bullpen work behind you.
Mahoney getting loose, and we are now expecting Kamar Rocker back at present for the top of the 8th. And of course, that's subject to change with how long that inning goes, but looks like he's still sitting on the back bench and could return. It'll be Tate Colwick for the Commodores. This is what's on TV over the next couple of days in the SEC. Noon Eastern, 11 o'clock in Nashville. Game 2 of this series on the SEC Network tomorrow with our friends Tom Hart and Kyle Peterson. Then Sunday, a doubleheader, Mizzou and Kentucky. The 2 teams projected at the bottom of the SEC East facing off to start the season. And Vandy will head to Mizzou next week. And then Arkansas, who's undefeated no more, hosting Alabama. Hogs lost to Oklahoma at home on Tuesday night.
I think a lot of people knew Arkansas was going to be good, but didn't know they were just going to come out on a tear like they have this year. But excited to see that matchup tomorrow versus Alabama.
I got to say, Jalen Battles, their shortstop, probably the best position player in the conference so far.
Yeah, he's super impressive. And a lot of those guys on that team are.
Jack Mahoney and Tate Colwick, a couple of former high school quarterbacks facing off here. Mahoney was a shortstop, a pitcher, a quarterback, and a point guard in high school in Illinois. Now in his freshman year of college, coming in a big spot for the Gamecocks.
Mahoney really wearing out the bottom part of that zone. In a pretty good spot there in the outside corner, just trying to keep the ball low, get some ground balls, get a double play, and race that runner at first base.
Mahoney pitched on both Friday and Saturday in the Texas series, when a combined 2 2/3 scoreless innings against the Horns. Hasn't allowed a run over his last 4 trips out of the pen. Colwick sends this one to right. Eister towards the wall. Makes the catch. Going for a double play on the tail end. They won't get it. But what a catch by Andrew Eister.
With the swing by Colwick, I mean, I thought that had a chance to really get out. A heck of a swing and a heck of a catch by Eister. Take a look at this. He just kept going, kept going, kept going, kept tracking, right up against the wall, and almost doubled up Rodriguez at first base.
Give me a SportsCenter Top 10 nominee. Yeah, see if Rodriguez retouched there.
Yeah, I didn't see him either. It looked like he crossed the bag and then didn't retouch on the way back, but I guess nobody else saw it.
Enrique Bradfield Jr. is next. That's the first out of the inning after Mahoney replaced Farr. Bradfield on base twice tonight in his 3rd plate appearance, a walk, and his first ever college caught stealing in the 3rd. He's now 13 out of 14. And an RBI bunt single last time. Going to use his speed again, and Wimmer can't get him. David Mendham says challenge as Wimmer played the spinning ball.
And that's why he's so difficult to get out. I mean, this is just a high chopper that he just beats out. Just a 2-hopper and a nice job by Wimmer. Let me take a look at the close play at first base. That's tough right there. I couldn't see. There's probably a better angle here. Probably one of the closer ones we've seen all year, Max.
The play is officially under review. Wow.
Yeah.
Since this is a conference game, the umpires will go on headset and talk to the SEC Replay Center in Birmingham. This is year 3 of that system for conference games, although we did not play any conference games last year. Doesn't matter much at this point since this is the last inning of challenges, but I believe this was an umpire-initiated review.
Yeah, that's a tough angle right there because you can't really see Bradfield's foot hitting the bag at what time. This is probably the best one you'll see. I mean, the ball is in the glove and then the foot is on the bag. It's just a tough to see when those actually happen. I mean, they look like they just at the exact same time.
Call in the field was safe, and you imagine this will be a tough overturn. Yeah. The call is not in the hands of the umpires here. The call is being made by the off-site folks in Birmingham. The umpires on headset, Morris Hodges and Jeremy Dupree, can offer input or clarify any questions they have, but the call is out of their hands at this point.
Right.
There's some of the reviewable plays. And again, challenges will go away at the end of this inning. So after South Carolina chose not to review last inning on a double play that went against them that we thought would have been a safe call at first upon replay, they challenged this one. You get 2 challenges a game, and if you're right, you keep your challenge no matter what. New rule this year. Looks like we have a call. Out!
Wow.
The overturn in South Carolina's favor, and Bradfield's retired for the second out of the inning. Even if he didn't get him, top-notch play by Braylon Wimmer in second.
It really was. I mean, that was some funky spin, but did a good job of getting in and get a good flip over to Mendham, the first baseman. But regardless, Vandy still does have a runner in scoring position here.
It's been a lengthy half inning with 3 deep at bats, a review, and a pitching change, but this is only the 4th hitter of the frame. Rodriguez walked against Farr, who was then pulled. Colwick lined out to deep right against Jack Mahoney. And Bradfield initially given an infield single, then called back. Gonzalez 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts in the game. Kamar Rockers threw 7 for Vandy. We'll see if he comes back out for the 8th. He hopes with a lead. Jack Mahoney hopes otherwise. Half swing. Appeal to first. No swing. It's 2-0.
You look back at situations during a game when you need guys to come through. This is one of them. Got a guy down the bottom of the order, runner in scoring position with an advantage count here, 2-0. Definitely got to be on green here.
3-0. Gonzalez hits 9th for Vandy, senior third baseman. Tim Corbin said he could hit anywhere from 4th to 7th in the order, really. And liken the situation to Ethan Paul 2 years ago, who hit 7th for the first couple months, ended up hitting 3rd down the stretch on the title team. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk, and the Commodores are back to the top of the lineup. First and second with 2 down for Cooper Davis, who's 0 for 3 today.
Yeah, not the end of the world there for Mahoney. Have the base open, still have 2 outs. But you do flip the order, and now you get back to the top of the order. It looks like going to have another visit here.
Skylar Meade, the 4th-year pitching coach, former Louisville Cardinal, makes another change. 3rd pitcher of the inning coming on for the Gamecocks, trying to keep this ball game tied. Third pitcher of the game in the inning for South Carolina is senior right-hander Andrew Peters, who's in his 2nd year pitching for the Gamecocks. A couple of junior college stops before that. Before the outing against Texas last week, he had gone 9 2/3 innings and allowed just 1 run. He gave up a couple of runs in an inning against the Longhorns. Before that, nearly unhittable. How about those strikeout to walk numbers, Andrew?
Yeah, 18-2, pretty impressive. And similar kind of velocity to Mahoney, who we just saw, but with Peters, a little bit more of a 3/4 slot, so the ball definitely has a little bit more run to it. The ball's moving all over the place, and also a little bit of faster and a sharper breaking ball and a good changeup to those left-handers. So coming in here to try and, shut it down and face Cooper Davis. Definitely seeing some more arms used within 1 inning and a little bit more going through the arsenal that we've seen so far this year against the Commodores, just because hadn't been as many close games, but one of the few close games the Commodores have played so far this year.
Peters in his 2nd year off Tommy John. And boy, has he worked hard to get to this point. His freshman year, he played at Maryville University in St. Louis. Went to John A. Logan College, one of the best JUCO schools, for his sophomore year, and tore his UCL early on. Gets picked up by South Carolina. Got in 3 games last season, and now one of their top bullpen arms. Mark Kingston feels like he's finally building a pitching staff that he's happy with and can really deploy.
Yeah, I mean, all the guys we've seen so far, we hadn't seen too many of them, but I'm very impressed with just their poise and ability to pound that strike zone and kind of throw a lot of those different pitches and counts that they want.
First and second, 2 outs for Cooper Davis, and Peters starts him off speed. Davis a pop out, a line out, and a ground out. Vanderbilt leadoff man. Senior left fielder in his 9th game back from a broken nose. 1-1. South Carolina dugout wanted that strike call. No hits in the inning for Vandy. A walk, a fly out, a ground out that was originally ruled a hit, then overturned, and then another walk to Gonzalez. Two and one.
Really good look at the changeup there. We've seen, actually saw a little bit of cutter first pitch, saw a good fastball on the outside corner, and then we just saw a changeup. So coming right up the gate with all of this stuff. And Peters has to. He's got a runner in scoring position here.
Davis fouls that one off. It's 2-2. Colin Burgess says good pitch.
Yeah, it was right where he wanted it, right in the spot, up in the zone. Got Davis to chase it, wasn't able to get anything on it. If anything, he changes the eye angle of Davis, so now has the opportunity to go back down in the zone with something, maybe a change up away, get him to chase.
Peters has struck out 18 of the first 41 batters he's faced this year. Line drive, base hit. Vandy takes the lead.
When you talk about opportunities that you got to capitalize on, that's one of them. A heck of a job by the senior Cooper Davis. Down on the count, fastball, outside corner, stays with it. Khalil just outside of his glove. And the catcher, CJ Rodriguez, hustling around third. And that's what you need out of your leader at the top of the order. Pretty fired up.
Tim Corbin joked Cooper Davis should stick to his short game after the homer last week. Well, the short game puts Vandy ahead here in the 7th.
That was just vintage Cooper Davis. I mean, nice short swing. Staying on the ground.
Carter Young up with the 2 Commodore seniors, Gonzalez and Davis, on the bases. Vandy 2 in the 5th. South Carolina 2 in the 6th. Vandy makes it 3-2 here in the 7th. They have not trailed. Young 2 strikeouts and a walk tonight. Swing and a miss. Carter Young swinging for the fences. 2-0.
Yeah, we don't really see Young take big hacks recently. But take a look here. Got a little extra on that one. He's been swinging a good bat too, so he's seeing the ball well. Was in an advantage count. Still in an advantage count here, 2-1.
Fourth time through the Vanderbilt batting order. Thomas Farr's line is final. 6+ innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, it looks like he's on time for it. He's just missing the barrel. Yeah, it just shows you Peters' good run on the fastball. So as a hitter, you start your swing and you think it's going to be one place, but by the time that bat gets through the zone, it's on another one.
Burgess calls time. Expect him to catch all 3 games this weekend. Wes Clark, their DH, is their other catcher. Burgess in there for his defense. And they will want that in SEC games. Andrew Peters to Carter Young. Called strike 3. Front door with the fastball, and Peters gets the inning over. But Cooper Davis makes it 3-2 Commodores with a line drive single after 7. Kamar Rocker back out for the 8th inning for the 2nd straight week with Vandy ahead 3-2.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic pitching matchup. Farr did a fantastic job in 6 innings pitch and came out, and Commodores able to put a few runs across. But the big story of the night, that man right there, Kamar Rocker, already 7 innings pitched, going on 8. Just trying to see how long he can go.
9-1-2 for the Gamecocks. George Khalil first. Pitch 101 from Kamar Rocker. It's a ball. Out of his first 100, 71 were strikes.
Pretty solid. That's why he's so effective. He's not wasting any time. He's coming right at you.
And he gets swings on pitches out of the zone, too.
Exactly. That was one of the things I talked with Scott Brown about at the beginning of the year is, you know, one of the stats that they really look at among kind of the stat-heavy era that we're in is just the attack zone. And so, you know, whether or not somebody is going to be swinging at a pitch or not, or if there's even an umpire behind the plate, is that zone, how many times are you throwing it in there? And if you aren't at a high percentage of throwing in there, your stuff better be nasty. So just what you said, Max, if that ball is outside the zone, getting a lot of swing and misses.
Rocker wanted that one, and Khalil gets a piece.
You can hear Vandy dugout cheering on Rocker, just trying to get him through this inning.
2-2. Rocker always pitches with emotion. I would argue as much as any pitcher Vandy's ever had.
Yeah.
Put David Price in there for sure. Carson Fulmer. He's right up there with him.
And something that Ty Duvall said, who we had earlier on the broadcast, who was Kamar Rocker's catcher last year. Anytime you're going out there with Rocker, you know you're going to have a chance to win. I mean, he's just such a competitor and really elevates the level of everyone else's play.
3-2.
And if you're South Carolina, you just want to continue to work him, try and get out of the game. Try and get in that bullpen, see somebody different.
Called strike 3. Fastball down and away gives Rocker his 12th.
Yeah, 3rd strikeout for Khalil. I think all on the outside part of the plate. This time a fastball, a little generous there from home plate umpire Morris Hodges, but a nice spot and a nice frame job there by Rodriguez.
12 strikeouts from Rocker. Ties the 2nd most he has ever had in a game. You might remember he had 19 against Duke 2 years ago. Now back to the top and making Braylon Wimmer miss.
The slider to those right-handers just lethal. I mean, especially when Rocker's feeling it, as it looks like he's feeling it right now.
Wimmer bunts that one foul. Rocker up to 110 pitches. This is officially now not only the 2nd most strikeouts he's ever had behind the no-hitter, but also the 2nd most pitches he's ever thrown behind 131 that night. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Slider falls right off the table, and Kamar Rocker struck out 13.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. Look at that thing. I feel like it's even gotten tighter as the game has gone on. There's good stuff there from Rocker.
That's 3 straight strikeouts, including the last out of the 7th. And Brady Allen's up. Second place hitting center fielder, struck out twice, reached on a fielder's choice and scored last time. He was the one who grounded the ball to Jason Gonzalez. That Gonzalez threw to second and did not get an out there. Started South Carolina's 2-run 6th that tied the game. Did he go? Yes, he did. Home plate umpire Morris Hodges keeps the call himself.
Yeah, it sounds like a full stadium here, but that's the Commodore defense, sorry, the Commodore bullpen. And the guys in the dugout cheering him on. Trying to finish out a fantastic performance here on opening SEC night.
1-2. Kamar Rocker trying to finish 8 for the 2nd straight weekend. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kamar Rocker strikes out the side with a big smile and a pound to the chest in the top of the 8th. George Khalil looking, Braylon Wimmer swinging, and Brady Allen makes 14 in the game with Vandy up 3-2. Kamar Rocker just completed the hug line. That means he is finished after 8 full, 14 strikeouts, and 116 pitches, Andrew Harris.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. You see the line from Rocker. 116 pitches, 8 innings. He went 8 innings last weekend as well. Only 3 hits, 14 strikeouts. Was just absolutely nasty. And against no slouch of an offense, too. I mean, goodness. A team that absolutely mashes. I mean, he really had him off balance all night.
Jack Bolger leads off 3, 4, and 5 for Vandy in the bottom of the 8th against Andrew Peters. 71% of Rocker's pitches in this game were strikes. He threw 82 strikes in this game.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Bolger goes down for the 3rd consecutive AB. And Peters has his 2nd straight strikeout.
Yeah, meanwhile, while we were talking about Rocker, Peters just throwing fuzz. I mean, the ball he struck out Young with last inning was, up and in. It was super impressive.
Parker Nolan's 0 for 3. Luke Murphy back in the Vanderbilt bullpen after being contact traced by Dominic Keegan's positive COVID test. Looks like he'll come on for the 9th.
We have not seen Murphy in the flesh in over a week. He does exist, and looks like he's coming out.
2 balls, no strikes on Nolan.
That's kind of who we expected to come out of the pen.
As long as he was ready.
For the closer role, exactly.
Swing and a miss. Wonder if Luke brought the weighted ball to the isolation dorm with him.
Possibly.
Think they got a plyo wall in Blakemore? If they do, I never saw it.
I will say that the way that some of these athletes and people that are in college get treated with COVID, I mean, you kind of just get thrown over there and you just kind of got to figure it out because you're just trying to get isolated. So definitely alone with your thoughts for a while.
I interviewed a Vanderbilt football player in the fall who was contact traced, and he was just watching practice on his computer from like 300 yards away. Nolan battling here. Vanderbilt looking to give Murphy more than a run of cushion after Kamar Rocker takes them through 8 full. And his final 4 were strikeouts. Swing and a miss. Andrew Peters looking good here in the 8th.
And Peters goes with the elevated fastball and gets Nolan to chase. A little bit of run on the outside corner. And super impressed with Peters' stuff as he's come in this game.
He'll go against Isaiah Thomas, who is 1 for 3. 5th place hitter hitting for the 4th time here in the 8th. That means not a lot of base runners in this game. Vanderbilt has had just 5 hits in the ballgame plus 4 walks. South Carolina has had 3 hits and 2 walks. Thomas had Vandy's first hit back in the 5th. Neither team had a hit through 4 against Thomas Farr and Kamar Rocker. I think you would certainly expect Jack Mahoney, who pitched to just 3 batters in the 7th, to come back later this series for the Gamecocks. Peters now thrown 24 pitches. But you'll often see those Friday relievers come right on back later in the series.
Yeah, I think Farr did a good enough job of going deep enough to save some of that pitching.
The Gamecocks will have 3, 4, and 5 in their order in the top of the 9th inning. Josiah Seitler, Wes Clark, the D1 home run leader, and Andrew Eister. Andrew Peters strikes out the side and keeps it a 1-run game. Luke Murphy going to try and finish it off. Wes Clark going to try and do otherwise. Vandy 3, South Carolina 2 with 3 outs to go on SEC opening night. Kamar Rocker steals the show with 14 strikeouts in 8 innings.
Yeah, that's a 1 and a 4, 14 strikeouts, and he did it a lot with the slider, and lots of these right-handed hitters. South Carolina swings the bat really well, but Kamar Rocker just made him look stupid out there as he leads stretches.
With the ice on the shoulder.
Ice on the shoulder.
That takes some skill right there. Multiple strikeouts in 5 innings. He struck out the side to finish it off in the 8th.
And it was interesting to see if he was going to back up his performance last week with it this week, and he definitely did, as we get a look at Luke Murphy, who has been absolutely electric this year, coming off of Tommy John and a tough year last year, and really rebounded well, and excited to see him try and close this thing out.
Throws mid to high 90s in the back end of the Vandy bullpen. First appearance since Saturday, March the 6th against UIC. 5 innings on the season, has not allowed a run. Just 2 base runners, 1 walk and 1 hit across those 4 appearances and 9 strikeouts. Again, he was contact traced by Dominic Keegan's positive COVID test. They both returned today. And I would say that is about the only contact that Luke Murphy has been involved in this season. Murphy is a junior, his 3rd year of college. He had Tommy John surgery going into his freshman year, so redshirted. Last year faced 18 batters in 4 games before the season was paused and walked 9 of those 18. This year he has fixed his control and become an elite back end of the bullpen arm. There's the fastball to Josiah Seitler. Middle of the order for the Gamecocks. Seitler, Wes Clark, and Andrew Eister down a run.
Yeah, Murphy has yet to be in a tight situation and against some really good hitters. This is about as good as you can get, up by 1 run, trying to close it out against some of the best hitters in baseball, and also a home run leader coming up here soon.
Seidler an RBI double the opposite way off Rocker in the 6th. So Murphy's now missed back-to-back with a fastball and a breaking ball. Fastball popped up. Looks like it's going to get out. And it will. Murphy's from about 40 minutes north of here in Cross Plains, Tennessee. Went to East Robertson High School in Robertson County. Tore his UCL pitching in summer ball in the Perfect Game League at the end of his senior year of high school. Had a little velo bump and then felt a pop on a changeup and knew that was it. Good take there. And in his evolution, coming back and honing in his control from last year, that breaking ball went from really a slider to a curveball.
Yeah, definitely got a little bit more depth to it. It's always tough for guys to come off of that injury and do what Luke Murphy has done. Fastball inside corner, heck of a pitch.
10 strikeouts for Murphy so far this season. He has faced 18 batters.
Nice spot, mid-90s. Be able to stick that pitch is super hard to do.
Here's Wes Clark, the only man in Division I baseball with double-digit home runs entering the weekend. Today, a walk, a pop-out, and a run-scoring ground-out against Kamar Rocker. Murphy starts with the breaking ball and misses short.
And for Murphy, on his road back from recovery and also kind of getting his control back, talking with Scott Brown and also his summer coach up in the Northwoods League, and they just said, you just got to get back to challenging the hitters and throwing the ball right in the strike zone and saying, hey, it's coming in there to see if you can hit it. So definitely an opportunity to do that with Wes Clark at the plate.
Clark identifies a couple of low sliders. Gets ahead 2-0. Three and 0. First fastball, but Murphy keeps it away. Power on power, mid-90s versus 10 home runs. 4-pitch walk. Tying run aboard for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, not the end of the world for Murphy. I mean, he was missing, but not too far outside the plate. Last thing you want to do is leave one over the plate for him to do.
The Gamecocks will pinch run for their best hitter. Noah Myers takes over for Clark at first. Clark's the DH, and Myers takes his place. So Myers takes Clark's place with one down and Andrew Eister in. 2 strikeouts and robbed of a hit by Colwick up the middle. So 0 for 3 against Rocker. There's a fastball strike. Myers taking a bit of a lead off first, but not taking much of a secondary or trying to bluff a steal. He was 7 out of 8 stealing bases in his first season with the Gamecocks last year. All eyes on Andrew Eister at the plate going against Luke Murphy. Out of COVID protocol and into the closer role. Misses, and that one gets away. Tying run in scoring position.
And as I was thinking, it actually happened. South Carolina's not going to be too aggressive on the plate, just going to hope for a pass ball, and that's what they get. A free pass to get that guy in scoring position. South Carolina with a quick opportunity here to put a ball in the gap and tie it up.
4-pitch walk and a wild pitch. The Gamecocks 180 feet away from tying this game. Luke Murphy to Andrew Eister. Swing and a miss on the curveball.
Yeah, a heck of a pitch, too. Was able to drop it right in there. Hung up there a little bit more than he was expecting. As you saw a big swing there from Eister, but wasn't able to connect.
Breaking ball and a fastball count from Murphy. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Murphy gets a big second out with the fastball.
Huge, huge, huge strikeout. Came right back in. This is the second strikeout he's had this inning with fastball inside. Some big guts from Luke Murphy.
David Mendham had Carolina's first hit in the 5th. It was a hard hit single to left center off Kamar Rocker. He also walked against Rocker to start the 7th. He was on a cold streak at the end of the Texas series, but appears to be getting out of it. 1 for 3 with an RBI single and sac fly Wednesday. 2 good at bats tonight. This is a big one. Swing and a miss. Hunting high heat.
And Mendham's been taking hacks all night. Trying to get that guy home as soon as he can.
Called strike on the inside.
Yeah, went back inside with the fastball. Murphy got him 0-2. See if he sticks with the hard stuff or tries to finish him off in the dirt.
Luke Murphy trying to save this game for Kamar Rocker, who went 8 strong. Vandy boys win the SEC opener. Welcome back, SEC baseball. Kamar Rocker strikes out 14, and the Commodores beat South Carolina 3-2.
You see the line there, 7 of the last 8 batters. I mean, the pitching fantastic tonight. And a big part of that, Kamar Rocker really started off, and that's what you want out of your Friday night guy. Commodores were able to score enough runs, and Luke Murphy able to shut the door.
The last 7 outs were all punch outs, and 17 of the 27 outs came on the strikeout for the Vandy pitching staff. Fun night, great to be back in SEC play. Number 2 ranked Vanderbilt beat 16th ranked South Carolina 3-2. For my partner, Andrew Harris, fans of Kamar Rocker everywhere, our producer, director, Travis Porterfield, technical director, Michael Fox. I'm Max Hers, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern tomorrow, Game 2, televised nationally on the SEC Network. You can watch this game on replay on the ESPN app anytime. This has been a presentation of ESPN and the SEC Network.